It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Here we go. It's Thursday. I guess you've already been here. We've been going for quite some time now.
That's right.
We're already here. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. I'm Connor Happer. There's Josh Odson. So I was wondering, Josh, since it's possible that Nebraska gets their 6th win of the season, thus making them bowl eligible on Saturday.
That's right.
It's possible. They're 6.5-point underdogs. I mean, they might not. They might lose.
That is also very possible.
It's possible. It's all within the realm of possibility. That they'd become bowl eligible. Wow. We love bowl games, right?
I remember liking them, yes.
Everybody says you have to get to a bowl game. You have to get to a bowl game.
Imagine not getting to a bowl game.
Can't we just be happy with the bowl game and then move on? Because I have proffered the theory at various points this year. I don't think that you guys would be happy with just getting to a bowl game. I think that you're lying, first of all. I don't think you'd be happy with really much of anything. I get the sense that you're bored right now because Nebraska's 5-1 and they win games in boring fashions all over the yard here. But that's a different topic for a different day.
I think you might be onto something though.
I've proffered the theory that you wouldn't be happy if Nebraska found their way to 6 wins and then just stopped winning games for the rest of the year. That would not be an exciting thing for you. I believe I'm right. But let's just play the other side of the aisle here. Let's just say you're right. I'll take your 6 wins, and I'll be good with that. And that's progress for a program that hasn't been to a bowl game in, 9 seasons, 8 seasons? It's been a long time, Josh, since 2016.
Too many to count?
Sorry. Too many to count. Unless you can't count to 8 or 9. That it's too many.
Some of us can't, okay. Connor.
All right. So let's just play it out your way then. Where's the party on Saturday if Nebraska wins? We're raging, right? If this is such a monumental step for the program, then why the hell aren't we more excited about this right now?
We're on the cusp.
What's going on? Nebraska hasn't won a game against a ranked team since 2016 either. Why the hell aren't people so excited about this right now? If they break all of those streaks on Saturday, there should be a gigantic party at 72nd and Dodge. But no, I don't get the sense there will be, Josh. I don't get the sense there will be. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. Is it because you're liars? Am I being too antagonistic today, Josh? I don't know. I just wonder. I just wonder. Getting to 6 is so important. Beating a ranked team is so important. Obviously, beating ranked teams is important. Getting to 6 is important. I feel like there's more that's out there for Nebraska football this year, even if they win on Saturday and get to their 6th win of the season. Or if they lose on Saturday and they don't get to their 6th win, but they have to wait until next week, or they have to wait for 2 more weeks to get to their 6th win of the year.
I would argue 72nd and Dodge is now too crowded to have your bowl eligibility party there.
Okay.
I suggest we move it up west to 114th 14th and Dodge.
Underneath the overpass?
Yeah, underneath the
or
overpass.
on top of the expressway.
That seems unsafe. I don't know where the parking would be.
Well, what, on top of the old First National building?
Yeah. I'll still go under. Let's go under.
Okay. Probably for the best. I agree. Terry writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox, by the way.
Hi, Terry.
Terry says, hi, Connor. 72nd Dodge was the meeting point because true Omahans won't go further west into the hinterlands.
Well, now I can't get people to come that far east.
So are you a true Omahan? Like, what makes you a true Omahan? If you just stayed east of 72nd for your entire life? You've never been to a Omaha Storm Chasers game? You've never been to Lincoln? You never been to California? Never been to Denver?
Well,
All those things are west of 72nd Street.
true Omahans never leave.
True Omahans never go west of 72nd.
When I
You've
lived
never
in
been to Chick-fil-A at 78th and Dodge?
Oh gosh, that's right.
Never been to the new Chick-fil-A which opened today at 156 and Maple?
It did. Many are talking
People
about
forget.
it. When I lived in the neighborhood here, I really noted like, oh, I'm west of 84th Street. This hardly ever happens.
Mm.
So
You have everything you need.
there is
72nd East.
There's a little something to that.
Hunter writes in, if you haven't felt the peace and quiet of West Omaha, you haven't lived.
Peace and quiet.
It's peace and quiet in West
Really?
Omaha? I don't know about that so much.
The Honda Civics in the area without mufflers.
Yeah, a lot of that.
That's you. That's what you sound like. West
Motorcycle
Omaha.
racing on West Maple at
Yeah.
about midnight. That's quiet. That's the quiet that I like.
Do the trick. Do the trick where you go up on one wheel and I could kill you with
He's
a
gonna do
stiff
it.
breeze.
Oh, do you have a GoPro on your helmet and you're going
Oh.
to put it on TikTok later?
Oh,
This is also really surprising to me. A couple tweets here. Here's Mitchell
hi Mitchell.
on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. I believe the problem is the fact that Nebraska got off to a hot start and the offense looks like it's regressed the last couple games. What? Wait, hang on. The offense has regressed?
14 points, Connor. That's not very many.
Okay. Also, did they get off to a hot start and the offense has regressed? This is not. Is this a narrative that's going around?
What's the difference between UTEP and Rutgers?
Oh,
What's the difference?
so
there?
we're just looking at like game 1 to game 6.
Yeah.
So if Nebraska would have played like,
Remember those
If
pretty
the- if-
passes?
if
in
Nebraska
game
would've-
one?
Nebraska would have played roast beef state against Rutgers or instead of Rutgers last week, then and put up 56 points, I would have been like, progress. That's what I'm talking about. No, you can't think that binary. You cannot think that way. I don't think there's been much change positively or negatively in the offense. They haven't turned the football over.
Mhm.
They're pretty consistent. They can't really run the ball that well.
Finishing rate still a problem.
They could pass it pretty well. Finishing rate's still a problem. It's generally an offense that makes sense, but it has warts. It has issues. Has it gotten worse? I don't know that I would agree with your takeaway on that through 6 games.
They didn't score in the first half against Purdue, Connor. Purdue's really bad.
Yeah. Regressed. They regressed. People forget. This is what YouTube says. Chris says people forget about the noop at halftime. The N00P. That's true. Why not? Hoiberg says people forget it was windy as hell against Butgers. They do forget that.
Butgers. I don't know.
I
It's stupid, but it's funny.
I haven't seen very much variance in Nebraska's offense, to be completely honest with you. There's been a little variance in Nebraska's defense. It's trending positively at the moment.
I like those little drops in the bucket to Nayor.
So this must be so quiet right now because this is just a gigantic barometer game. This is this has to be a narrative game. It's
gonna be.
Yeah, this is I'm going to apply everything that I saw in this game, copy and paste it to the rest of the season and say this is what we are now. Either it's horrible or we're awesome.
You're over the hump or it's same old, same old.
Or like, okay, let's play that out. If they win against Indiana, they're bowl eligible. They're 6-1. There should be a party at 72nd Dodge.
114th under the overpass.
They beat a ranked team for the first time in 8 years, and they've shown that they could beat a good team, the number 16 team in the country, undefeated, right? What would be the reaction to that, Josh? Because I'm sensing that many would poo-poo it.
Would poo-poo beating Rutgers or beating Indiana?
Yeah.
Or
I don't think people want to believe in it. Like, it's so weird. I thought after the first game, we played the promo that ran for a long time. It was like I thought people believed in this team. I feel like people like this team.
That's on me. I didn't change that like I should have.
That's okay. It was good because the message got jammed into my skull for a month and a half. I thought I was really on to something that day. I'm like, damn, I think people like this team. I felt it. I heard it in the crowd. I heard it the way people responded to it. And then they went out and beat the hell out of Colorado in the first half and just kind of sleptwalked through the second half. And that took like all the juice away. So weird. So weird. Frankly, I think the team that Nebraska's playing on Saturday is probably just about as good as Colorado is.
Okay.
That's probably pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska beat that team 28-10. They were up 28-0. Now, Nebraska's issue has been trying to find the edge that allowed them to bombard Colorado in the first several minutes of that game and take a lead and never have to look back on it. So they'll have to find that edge. Capable of it, they'll have to find that edge.
That really does feel like the key to Saturday. Can you blow them up in the first 6-7 minutes of the game and make them like, oh my gosh, what do we do? I've never done this before.
Jake writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Jake.
If Nebraska loses, I'll shove a Husker football helmet up my keister on O Street in front of everybody on Saturday. That's how big of a game this is. I don't think that will work. I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should.
No, definitely don't do that. Don't say you would do that publicly. Do you think people are going to poo-poo a win over Indiana, or do you think they're going to? Do you think they're going to talk themselves up like, "Hey, beat a ranked team, number 16 in the country at their place"? Big noon.
I actually think people are going to poo-poo it.
I
think we're going to poo-poo all over the place.
I see them talking themselves into. I think we could beat Ohio State.
Interesting.
I think we can beat Ohio State now.
A couple more texts here. Here's Caleb.
Hi, Caleb.
Connor, I'm not excited because being excited for achievements has let me down for the last 8 years. Untether yourself, Caleb. How many times do I have to say it? Untether yourself. It's okay. It's okay. Let me be the first to tell you, just as I was the first to tell you last year, Nebraska's going to go to a bowl game this year. They are. You better admit it to yourself. Better start planning your travel. We're already looking what's going on New Year's week. You know, are we going to be here? Where are we going to be? Are we going to be lodged away at some weird hotel in Detroit? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I don't understand that. I don't do you really physically get hurt when you put yourself on the, when you believe in your team? This is part of your responsibility to just blindly believe in your team. It's I think this team is good. I think it's, but hey, or to at the very least defend your team, right? Hey, we're 6-1. We haven't, and some guy comes up to you on the street and says, "Well, you're 6-1, but you haven't beat anybody, punk." And then you say, "Well, guess what? I don't care. We're 6-1." Yeah. That's what you're supposed to say to him. Instead, you're like, "Oh yeah, you're right, I guess."
Oh, now you're doing voices.
You're so right, I guess. You're so right. I don't even know what voice that is.
It's fun.
You're so right, I guess. Travis says, never apologize for winning, and I agree.
That's right.
Don't apologize.
You don't make the schedule.
This is your team. You have to find a way. Whatever place you got to get in from a mental perspective.
How
I don't get you guys.
How long are you sad after Nebraska loses a game?
It depends on the caliber, the size of the game.
Sure.
It could have an effect on the rest of my day.
Okay.
That's it. I might wake up on Sunday morning and sort of dread the week and the reaction and things like that. But we push forward.
That's more job related than
it is
fandom related.
It is. That's all. So it's okay. You're not going to be physically hurt by this. Venmo Chris writes in.
Hi, Venmo.
Connor and simple Nebraska fans have become insufferable and unable to accept that it's 2024 and it's unfeasible to beat every team by 20. They relish in complaints. Chris says, my buddies and I talked about it yesterday. It doesn't feel like as big of a game as Colorado was.
Definitely.
No, it definitely does not.
But it's big noon.
Maybe it's because it's not a home game.
It's the All-American girl.
I'm not sure. I do. We've touched on this briefly at various points over the last couple of weeks. There needs to be an adjustment, I think, from people just in the style of football that Nebraska plays. You got to just get used to that a little bit.
Get up, stay up.
Yeah, they're not.
The Cialis Path to Victory, starring Matt Rule.
See, but the thing is, like, I don't really get that either, Josh, because people so desperately, like, if I'm to put everybody in the, under the microscope a little bit. Okay, so we want to run the ball, right? We want to be run the ball physical team.
Mm-hmm.
Which usually means that you're probably not having a gigantic output on the scoreboard from an offensive perspective. We want to be a defensive, like, oriented physical team.
Yeah, we like that.
Usually means that you're not going to put up a big number from a offensive perspective.
Interesting.
And then you don't put up a big number from an offensive perspective, and you're like, well, why can't we be Indiana?
Interesting.
They put up a big number from an offensive perspective, but Nebraska's path to winning this game is their physicality, is their defense, is their, like, what makes sense about any of that? I don't really get it.
It's almost like everyone's a giant hypocrite.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the story here, Josh.
Can we have a high-power, high-octane offense and a great defense and win 77-0 every week?
So we got I was doing our Locked On podcast this morning. We got a question. It was our mailbag show day, Josh.
Wow.
We got a mailbag question about, it was actually from a couple weeks ago. We used it today. And it was, somebody wrote in about how Illinois, remember the whole talk after Illinois out schemed Nebraska. They outcoached Nebraska. They took advantage of Nebraska.
I remember this. I heard this.
Right? You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it have to be the worst thing in the world? I don't like
that they got outcoached.
Yeah.
I guess because you want your coach to be a genius, a Dan Lanning type, and
yeah, I do. I want Nebraska to win every game.
Yeah,
I want their coaches to be better than every other coach in the country. But guess what? They're not.
Whoa,
they're not. Nebraska is the same as just about like 30% of good college football teams. Like, everybody is in this category. They're in, and each one of those teams, including the God-given Indiana Hoosiers, have gigantic warts. They have problems, whether it's with their coaching staff, whether it's with their offense, whether it's with their defense, whether it's with their special teams. The key to it is how well you cover those issues up and how much you're able to accentuate the good things you do. Yes, it is on the coaching staff to be able to do that. Yes, I think Nebraska has a pretty good one. And yes, sometimes they do get out-coached. It'll happen. It'll continue to happen. Oh, but Connor, they're ruining Dylan Raiola because of their offensive coordinator. I'm doing voices now, like you said.
Yeah,
they don't have Dylan right. They're not making the best. They need to get a new offensive coordinator if they want to get the best out of Dylan Raiola. If Dylan Raiola wanted to throw for 5,000 yards a year, 50 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and win a national championship, he could have gone to Georgia. He could have done that.
Did they want him?
They did.
Oh, okay.
They did. Badly.
Interesting.
He didn't go there.
He didn't.
He came here. He knowingly and purposefully chose the path of more resistance. He knowingly and purposefully chose the path that he's probably going to, if he's lucky, throws for 3,000 yards this year. Doesn't turn the football over. But they hope, the coaching staff hopes, understands the quarterback position at a more molecular level than he would have if he was scoring points and scoring touchdowns at a mad rate at Georgia. That's the hope, right? So he's not going to, like, point blank period, he ain't going to have the stats. He's not going to have the stats. He's not going to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he'll win the Heisman Trophy here.
Whoa.
But people will look at him and they'll say, oh yeah, that's one of the better quarterbacks in the country. But then they'll look at the other guys' stats and they'll say, oh, well, they have better stats. This ain't a stats place, man. This ain't a place where you're going to get a whole bunch of stats. Everybody knows that. Everybody agrees with that.
Yep.
Except for you all. For some reason. And I can't figure out why. Do we want to win or do we want to make it look good?
But the Pacific game, Connor, do you remember the Pacific game? Nebraska won by a lot.
See, I always thought this was gone. I always thought this wasn't a thing anymore. Joel writes in, he says, I've just accepted that a lot of people won't be happy until we have another season like 95. I simply want them to win and have a football game to look forward to after the week of Thanksgiving. I for a long time, as Nebraska was going through rock bottom and whatever, the wilderness of the last 10 years, I always thought like the expectations aren't that high. People just want to go to a bowl game. I was wrong.
I think now that they are quote unquote good, or at least good adjacent, I believe those hopes have come flying back much quicker than.
Yeah. I just wanted to look a certain way.
I think when it was,
I always thought
the bad times. Yes, you're right. It was just, let's just get to a bowl game.
I just thought that winning was enough. Like, yeah. I just thought that winning was good. Like, okay, I don't care how you get there. You could throw it 87 times if you want to. Just get there. Just win football games. I guess that's not the truth. Hey, text from the 402.
Hi, 402.
Hey, Josh, do you think you could reach out to the All-American girl, Jenny Taft, and get her on the show?
I think I might have to.
All right.
Right?
Cool. I'll do a Gus impression, and we'll see if she likes it.
I think she'd love your Gus. It's a good Gus.
All right. Thank you. I just talk loudly. That's all.
Connor, I'd like to direct you.
All right. What do we got?
To the at Big Ten Network account on Twitter.
What are they saying?
Or X, if you call it. They're giving out their mid-season awards.
Oh, good.
There's a very interesting mid-season Coach of the Year award.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? Kurt Cignetti?
Well, Anthony Herron gave out one, and Ross Dellinger gave out another.
Who did Ross give it to?
Your boy, Kurt Cignetti.
That's my boy.
Quote, what he's done has been just phenomenal. Now, who did Anthony give it to?
Who did Anthony give it to?
Matt Rule.
Why did he say that?
If it's not Kurt Cignetti, I do think there's a strong case to be made so far for Matt Rule.
Oh, so he just wanted to pick Cignetti, but it wasn't allowed to?
Not a ringing endorsement. Hadn't read that quote before I read it aloud to you all.
Adam writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Adam.
I'd wager that Dylan Raiola would be the starting quarterback at Ohio State had he kept this commitment there, which should illustrate to Nebraska fans how good he is. Yeah.
Yes. God, I feel like they'd love him there right now.
Yeah.
Certainly he wouldn't have ran at all, let alone ran for a second too long.
So like maybe just the difference here is that we have these. It doesn't feel like we have the big game vibes right now. Doesn't feel like people have the big game feelings in their tum-tum. Josh?
Definitely more.
Because like I said, that belief is gone. What happened?
It's a Beth Mowins vibe.
People do not think Nebraska's going to win this game, though. They're scared of losing. And the whole thing that I said after the UTEP game was people believe in this team, and now people really, like Nebraska's fans, would have gone up to any Colorado fan on the street and they would have said, good luck today, B word. And just walked away. That's confidence, Catch an Indiana fan on the street today and just be like, please don't hurt us so bad. Please don't hurt us too bad.
First of all, I think I'd go, holy bleep, you exist.
Yeah, it's a real person.
You are real.
Basketball season's right, coming right up. Text from it's from the 402.
Hi, 402.
It's a big game because Rule's goals are to be relevant in November. If we lose to IU, we are in the hunt for nothing in November. That's also not true.